Asanti na karibu kwa matangazo haya ya leo. Kuanzia Jumatatu ifuatayo.
Waza padhe bana, jo kumekuwa na operation hapo hivi. Manguru amekuwa na operation hapo Riamba Tai, lakini si nimefimbitika bana. Tuache niwapeleke na Riamba Tai kwanza, si ndio? Oya. Mimi unaweza nitakatelo ama unaweza nita kwako mbogini ya kibo.
Wait, unanita kwa you can do what? Kwa you where there can do what that impact acha tu nitambambize. Guys, iko hivi. Kila Jumatatu tupatane KBC Channel 1 for the chipukizi, so itakuwa safi, so ya nguvu.
Umorio mko related ama naweza mtoka tenje. Naweza cheza kama mimi, si ndio?
Nipukujia huyu.
Kwanza, si ndio?
Vijana chapakazi wenye nguvu za ziada.
My youth, uko na talent ya kusing, spoken word, kucompose jingles ama any other unexploited artistic talent. Gava through Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy na KBC sasa wamekama up na project ya kupromote usanii called Studio Mashinani. Hizi ni studios ziko grassroots and they are fitted with high quality state-of-the-art equipment where you can produce quality audio and video music content for free. What's more, wana offer mentorship na talanta yako itakuwa promoted on KBC Channel 1 TV, Y254 na radio stations za KBC. Tembelea Studio Mashinani huko Comarox, Langata, Sauti House Mombasa, Kirwara huko Gatanga, Kitui next to Manyanyoni Chiefs Camp na Kisumu City wako hapo KBC station. Usilalie talent. This is your chance to commercialize and popularize your talent through Studio Mashinani.
에린 씨 어디야? 안 오고 뭐해?
고혜린 살리고 싶으면 지금부터 내가 하는 말 잘 들어. 킹스백 팀장 유지연, 기술팀 라도우 여원.
당신 누구야?
선배님, 빨리 나와요. NIS 요원들이 스타타워에 짝거렸다는 제보입니다.
Gerardo is following you. My mother ordered him to do it.
What?
Apparently, Anibal is worried about you, and he asked my mother to follow you to protect you from the Molinas.
Do you have any idea how long he's been following me?
It's because of Daniel. I really can't stop myself from loving him, Isabel. No matter how hard I try, I can't.
You're crazy, you know. You are very crazy. If you think that you can compare yourself with Isabel, she is way more better than you are in every aspect, and I love her.
I swear, Anibal.
What?
I swear you're going to regret this!
What in the world was she doing at the sawmill? Did she go there to see Daniel?
Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Lunchtime News. Our sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. My name is Jackie Wambiru, and to kick us off, we shall be crossing over to the Bomas of Kenya, where the National Dialogue Committee is meeting following the resumption of bipartisan talks. And to bring us up to speed, we are joined by our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim for an update. Abdiaziz, kindly bring us to speed.
Good afternoon to you too. Indeed, Jackie, we're still camping here at the Bomas of Kenya, where the talks between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza for this particular day has come to an end, and they have tasked both of the technical committees to iron out nitty-gritty issues that they will come back next week on Monday to iron out. But they have confirmed to us this particular afternoon is that they have received a number of memorandums from various quarters. Now, let me just give you a brief. As of the 10th of September, a total number of memoranda that they had received is hand-delivered to Parliament. They are 29. They also received at the Bomas of Kenya a number of 5, via email 121, via post that is nil, the total coming to 155. But there were less double submissions, where they had to remove 13 of them, and they have 142 memorandum to go through. Now that is what they have tasked the technical committees of both factions to go through. As we can confirm confirm to you this particular afternoon is that they have not even started to converse some of the agendas they had lined up for today. It is all about the restructuring of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, the boundary delimitation, as well as the audit of the 2022 presidential election. They have confirmed to us once they sieve through the memorandums they have received, they do not want to start speaking about or talking about those agendas until all these particular matters are addressed, and then they can start conversing on those particular agendas. Electoral justice and relation matters, that was the bone of contention that has seen a bone of contention between the Azimio and the Kenya Kwanza side. That is what they'll be conversing in the coming days. And on Monday, we're yet to see if they'll even start speaking on the agenda. Currently, they have dispersed and some of them have already left. But today, we can confirm to you the chair of Kenya Kwanza, that is Kimani Ichung'wah, was not present. He was engaged elsewhere, as well as the majority Senate leader, that is Aaron Cheriot. Behind me, they're currently having lunch. The Kenya Kwanza delegation led by the Embu governor, that is Cecilia Mbarire, have left the Bomas of Kenya. But right now, we can confirm to you the Azimio side, led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, are still here, and we would like to at least engage them on the timelines. You do remember they were allocated 60 days, and already they have taken up 18 days of those 60 days. They are required to submit a report before President William Ruto and the ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga, and then finally table it before Parliament for consideration and adoption. You do remember this is a hybrid session of parliamentarians and non-parliamentarians. That's why you can see some of them are still serving as members of Parliament. Others are not parliamentarians. They have even secretariat from the parliamentary grounds who are recording on Hansard everything they speak about, on whatever they agree. So it remains to be seen rather whether on Monday, if they'll start speaking on the agendas they had formulated. The process is simple. The technical committees from both sides have to sit down, agree and write recommendation, and then take it to the bipartisan committee where they adopt those recommendations. That is all we had for you now, Jackie Wambiru.
Well, that is Abdiaziz Hashim with the latest from the National Dialogue Committee, which will reconvene Monday for bipartisan talks. Now, in other news, civil servants will get a salary increment of between 9 to 7%. This follows the signing of a collective bargaining agreement between the government and Union of Kenya Civil Servants. Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service, Amos Gadesha, says the first phase of implementation of the CBA will cost 1.13 billion shillings and will be backdated to 1st July 2023. Another 1.12 billion shillings will be spent in the second phase, effective from 1st July 2024. He further said the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has approved an upward review of house allowances, where 115 million shillings will be spent in the first phase, while 223 million shillings has been allocated for the second phase. He assured the union the government will continue working to improve the welfare of the public servants.
These negotiations were based on the proposals that were raised by the union, and the government signed counter proposal.
Through the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. So we shall be happy if that particular process is expedited, the document is registered on the Employment and Labor Relations Code, and we get a certificate of registration.
Salaries and house allowance, I want to appreciate your effort, and we have taken them the way you advised, and we'll move on with them. The thorn in our flesh now is on commute allowance, which we believe the current rate being paid to our members is irrelevant, because it's not.
The CBA therefore is based on a budget allocation of 1,135,408,744 and is effective from 1st of July 2023. The second phase will be based on a budget of this translates to about 9% of salary increment for the civil servants across the board. The second phase, which is coming next financial year, has a budget of 1,126,486,162, which will be effective from 1st of July 2020-2024, which translates to about 7%.
In other news, university students from Embu County are calling on the government to step up efforts to stem cases of suicide among the youth. The students made their case as Kenya joined the world in marking World Suicide Prevention Day.
As the world marked World Suicide Prevention Day, university students from Embu County are calling on private sector players and the government to join hands in sensitizing the youth on mental health.
Ningependa kuomba wale wafadhili ambao wangeweza ama wangependa kuwasiliana nasi katika ile mipango tunafanya kama kikundi cha wanarika hapa Embu, waweze kutufikia kwa nambari ambayo tutapeana ili tuweze kufanya hii kazi kwa pamoja. Manake kujitoa uhai is not a fight for one person. Inahitaji vita ya watu wakiwa wameshikamana.
In a mental health sensitization walk to mark the World Suicide Prevention Day held in Barren North, Embu County Campus Student Organization Nicholas Kasanga emphasized the need to speak out to address emotional challenges in life.
Hizi suicide zinakuja because of the following issues. Unapata kuna mambo na relationship among youths. Pia unapata kuna watu ambayo ile umaskini, poverty ambayo imeleta sana. Mtu anaona because of the issues of family and issues of school fees and many other issues ambazo zina rank ziko hapo between the poverty, mtu anajipata amejiua.
The students held a 2 kilometers mental health walk at Siakago town where they lit candles in memory of those who have died of suicide. The county has recorded 6 suicide cases, 5 male and 1 female, since May, which on average is 1 case of suicide per month.
Well, that report brings us off first break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more news coming up.
Asanti na karibu kwa matangazo haya ya leo. Kuanzia Jumatatu ifuatayo.
Waza padhe bana, jo kumekuwa na operation hapo hivi. Manguru amekuwa na operation hapo Riamba Tai, lakini si nimefimbitika bana. Tuache niwapeleke na Riamba Tai kwanza, si ndio? Oya. Mimi unaweza nitakatelo ama unaweza nitakwako mbongini ya kibojo.
Unanita kwa you can do what? Kwa you where there you can do what that in fact aja do nizambambize. Guys, iko hivi. Kila Jumatatu tupatane KBC Channel 1 for the chipukizi, so itakuwa safi, so ya nguvu.
Umuri mko related ama naweza mtoka tenje. Naweza cheza kama mimi, si ndio?
Nipukujia huyu.
Kwanza, si ndio?
One year in office, 23 ministries. Time to review the journey in implementing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. What is your assessment of the government's performance? Will they ace the performance test? Tune in to KBC News at 9 p.m. for the government scorecard.
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. Now we cross over to Harambe County, where an initiative aimed at adaptation of Loaho Mixed Secondary School, spearheaded by US-based charity foundation, has been launched as part of a CSR initiative. Now our reporter Wycliffe Okech joins us with more details. Wycliffe?
Well, thank you so much, Jackie Wambiru, back in Nairobi. Like you rightly put it, we are coming to you live from Rangwe constituency here in Harambe County. Like you've mentioned it, this is Loaho Mixed Day Secondary School in Rangwe constituency here in Harambe County. Actually, what's going to happen here in the next few minutes here is that it's called Kevin and Lynn Foundation. That is a US-based family foundation that is augmenting government efforts to improve improve learning institutions. Like right now, this is Luaho Mixed Day Secondary School. And briefly, just to bring on board the founder of that particular foundation, Mr. Kevin Lynn. Kevin, if you can just basically move in, Kevin Onyona, tell us, your foundation is adapting this school to augment the government efforts to improve these facilities. What are some of the particular facilities that your foundation is going to improve in this particular institution? I'll hold it for you.
Thank you, Wycliffe.
I'll hold it.
Okay. Thank you, Wycliffe. Luaho Mixed Secondary School is a school right here that has a lot of needs. We have facilities such as dormitories, which they desperately need, because now we have the students that stay on board. In fact, in order for you to bring more students, you need to get them on campus. So starting off from just the need on the dormitory side, moves to the toilets, because we'll show you later on how dilapidated the toilets here are. And if you're going to bring students in to board, you definitely need a kitchen. So there's various needs, and of course, with that expansion, they're going to need more classrooms, and this is where we come in as a foundation. Lynn and Kevin and Lynn Onyona Foundation is a 501c3 corporation, registered in the state of Maryland in Washington, in America. It allows for us to be able to come to places where, communities where we came from, to come and impact change. Right. Yeah, I am the CEO and founder of Swahili Villages Restaurant, but in this aspect right here, we are using the foundation to showcase the ability for what Swahili has been able to accomplish, to use the foundation to impact our communities. And this school right here was one that really needed this partnership, and we are adopting the school fully to be able to see how well and how much more we can enhance to give them better facilities for education.
We'll speak more on what particular facilities are going to improve. But for now, Jackie Wambiru, like you mentioned, you've heard it from Kevin Onyona. Actually, is the founder of that Kevin and Lynn Foundation. That is a family foundation that is based in the United States. Actually, just trying to give back to the community. It comes from this region, and there's actually, like we've heard mentioned, they are fully adapting this particular institution to transform it from a day school into a boarding school, all in a bid to help learners here maximize their education. Like we're going to speak with them more off air, but then for now, let me just hand it back to you in studio so that you can continue with the rest of the bulletin. Wambiru.
Thank you so much, Wycliffe Okech, for that report where the initiative aims at improving access to basic education. Now, still on education matters, a section of education stakeholders and leaders from Garissa County have hailed the removal of subject cluster combination in the CBC curriculum. Elsewhere, Tana River residents have been urged to take up teacher training as a way of addressing the acute teacher shortage problem in the area.
A section of leaders and education stakeholders from Garissa have thanked President William Ruto for acting on the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party, which recommended the removal of the subject cluster combination. The leaders, led by Garissa Governor Natif Jama and Garissa NAT Executive Abdirizak Hussein, said that the new rule, which only requires one to have a seaplane, will see many of the local students join teaching colleges.
His Excellency for coming and giving us leadership courage, so that we can be able to restore the lost dignity of making sure we have a solution, we have a homegrown solution to teaching issues in our region.
We also have other students at Garissa University and other universities who are also pursuing education. We also have students who are pursuing diploma in education here. It's my prayer and hope that in the next 3 years, we will have a good number of local students coming up. And that way, we shall look for a way to place them so that they can be teaching in our schools.
Meanwhile, in response to the severe shortage of teachers and medical personnel in local schools and hospitals within Tana River, there is a noted spike in enrollment of residents in teaching and medical training programs.
Watoto wetu hawafundishi venye inavyotakikana kwa sababu ya upungufu ya walimu.
Wakumbuke mpaka huku sehemu za Isolo ya kwamba hakuna walimu ambao kwamba
wako upande huu. Kwa hivyo wale vijana wetu ambao kwamba leo wamebahatika kupata hiyo sponsor, waende wote, waende wasome na bidii ili warudi hapa na sisi pia tusikumbwe na shida kama hizo.
Elsewhere, early childhood development education teachers in Uasin Gishu County want to be included in the student milk plan. The county assembly has been urged to consider allocating more resources to increase the quantity of milk distributed to schools to include the teachers.
Financial support and maybe provision within the budgets in future, we look forward to also having these teachers at least take this milk.
Finally, institutions of higher learning have been challenged to initiate programs geared towards preparing learners for the job market. KCA-VC said this was a clarion call during a reunion of KCA alumni held in Nairobi.
We churn out more graduates. You don't know where they're going to fall for. They only have a certificate. But that certificate where they are going to fall. So we've seen as an alumni, because the concern has been there, alumni telling us, what are we gaining back?
Joan Junge for Lunchtime News.
From Education Matters, residents of Katani at the river in Machakos County are decrying the closure of quarry operations in the area. The residents are demanding answers following the deployment of a contingent of police officers to shut the mines. They claim powerful individuals are behind the woes, calling on the government to intervene.
The closure of about 50 stone mining quarries in Machakos County has sparked protests, with locals alleging the move was illegal.
Nikuuliza ngavana wa Vinya, angalia hao vijana watu wanatengemea hizi kwale. Angalia hao wazee watu wanatengemea hizi kwale.
They argue more than 10,000 people who rely on the mines for jobs are at risk of joblessness.
Na quarries inafaa kuwa zinaendelea. Kama quarries ina makosa, kama wanasiita illegal quarries, si illegal quarries, maana ni sisi tumepeana quarry. Kwa hivyo quarries inafaa kupatiwa ile mabarua inahitajika. Si kufunga not the option.
According to the irate residents, uniformed police officers and administration officers moved in to shut the mines without notice, despite the mine owners complying with the law.
Serikali tunaomba kutauliza kwamba kama quarries ziko na shida, si tunaitwa public participation. Idara ya wale wanahusika wanatuita, wanakuja, tunafanya kama pamoja, tunajadiliana quarries ziko na shida gani, tunaongea, na kama ni mahali ya kurekebisha kuna makosa, inarekebishwa na kazi inaendelea.
They are now calling on the government to investigate powerful individuals who they claim are behind the illegal mine closure.
Tumeona kila DO na uniform ya serikali na mapolisi, ma-OSPD makiwa na uniform ya serikali wakikuja kufunga makware on Sunday. Kwani haina formula. Unajua working days za serikali ni kuanzia Monday to Friday.
They also want the government to crack the whip on officers who are demanding bribes to allow the mines to operate. Edna Murungi for Lunchtime News.
Alcohol is the most abused substance among the youth in Kenya, according to a survey conducted by the National Authority for the Campaign Against Drug Abuse. The statistics show that 367,608 youth aged 15 to 24 years consume alcohol, which is 5.2% of the Kenyan youth population. Approximately 1.1 million youth aged 25 to 35 also abuse alcohol. Nakada Board Chair Reverend Dr. Stephen Mairori says that concerted efforts are required in order to reduce the number of youth engaged in drug and substance abuse in the country.
The truth is we have a problem in the country, and you've seen it by yourself. If you have over 4 million people using one drug or the other, or that are addicted, that is a major problem. And the effects of it in our country can be very negative. It would affect our performance and output in academic excellence, in every other area of life.
Where you go and investigate and get out these things which many people may not be privy to, and then tell it to the public, tell it to Kenyans. This will have a lot of impact. It will have a lot of impact.
Just partnership and coverage of stories, request Nakada
to engage journalists as a potential a candidate for counseling, for engaging on drug-related matters. So it's not just about coverage of stories. It's a big issue we are dealing with. We have lost very.
And across borders, rescuers face a narrow window to save any survivor from the rubble of devastated villages in Morocco's Atlas Mountains, 3 days after the country's strongest ever earthquake. The earthquake that struck on Friday night and affected southwest of the city of Marrakesh killed more than 2,100 people and injured more than 2,400. Rescuers have been using their bare hands to dig for survivors because heavy lifting equipment cannot get through roads blocked by boulders to reach remote villages near the epicenter of the quake in the Atlas Mountains. Meanwhile, Morocco says it has received aid offers from Qatar, Spain, the United Arab Emirates and the United Kingdom. Business news. Kenya is seeking to increase its direct foreign investment from China by 10% by December this year, with the country currently having $341 million in investment from the Asian nation. At the moment, Kenya Investment Authority Managing Director John Chepkemei says the upcoming Kenya International Industrial Expo, slated for the 21st to 23rd of this month at Sarit Center, provides Kenya the opportunity for more collaborations as Kenya seeks to foster a transition toward environmentally conscious industrial practices.
China is Kenya's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade rising rapidly from $186.37 million in 2002 to $5.3 billion in 2018. Kenya's trade deficit recently reached $7 billion due to the significant investment, trade deals, and developmental assistance it received from China. In a bid to expand new trade prospects between the two nations, Kenya is planning to increase its direct foreign investments from China by 10%.
The trade volume currently is valued at USD 5.3 billion. China has continued to purchase more Kenya agricultural products, especially avocado, which increasingly become attractive to Chinese consumers.
Kenya Investment Authority Managing Director John Chepkemei says it will be utilized by the business-to-business and business-to-consumer connections at exhibitions.
So the ones that have come to Kenya Invest directly, for the past eight months, we've registered a total of 178 projects in the country, and during with the capital outlay of 77 billion Kenya shillings. Out of this, the foreign component amounted to 46 billion and 31 billion for local components.
Kenya will host the International Industrial Expo at Sarit Center with a focus on boosting climate-smart industrial practices.
We are going to look at those opportunities. With our office in China, there is already an expression of interest to attract China investors in the tourism sector. We are also looking at tourist agents in China who can be able to bring tourists to Kenya. So that is what we are doing as Kenya National Chamber of Commerce.
This expo seeks to connect local enterprises to the best technological growth from China. In a bid to support the government's initiative and promote more export from Kenya, we are introducing another name to the expo called Kenya Import and Export Fair.
The expo will showcase the latest advancements in clean energy, resource efficiency, and sustainable manufacturing processes, setting the stage for a future where industries can thrive without harming the planet. Frederick Muki for Lunchtime News.
The county government of Nakuru has allocated 55 million shillings to fund climate resilience activities that center on climate-smart agricultural activities, small-scale irrigation, and the adoption of drought-resilient seeds. The initiative is aimed at ensuring the county is well-equipped to execute climate adaptation and mitigation measures that seek to promote a circular economy.
Decreased rainfall and increasing temperatures due to climate change has significantly lowered the productivity of agricultural land in Kenya. Communities that have been overly dependent on rain-fed agriculture have had to shift to more resilient farming methods that allow them reap even during drier seasons. Nakuru County government has put in place climate action committees to help tackle effects of climate change in all the 55 electoral wards. The county is also partnering with waste recycling companies as a means of bolstering the circular economy and creating job opportunities.
It's a big challenge, and what we are doing, we are working closely with the State Department of Investments and the State Department of Environment, national government, to come up with sustainable waste management strategy, which we are going to reduce the amount of waste coming from households, either through on-site waste segregation, on-site recycling, and for the waste that ends up in our landfill or dump sites, we end up recovering it either into organic fertilizer or energy.
Stakeholders also called for policy enactment that will promote the use of recycled water for construction and industrial purposes. This, they say, will maximize water usage through recycling and reduce pollution to water sources.
This covers all sorts of waste, domestic waste, industrial waste, and any other waste that comes out of the construction industry. All of this is manageable, but there has to be proper plans in place on how it is conducted and in such a way that it generates income.
The question then was the relocation. But again, when the city issue came up, city status, it was something that was shelved. And then again, we look at the human activities. Where does the human activities largely are? Again, it's on the top part. So it is about public participation. It's about going for good practice. What are other people doing and what best have they done that if we adopt could be able to help us.
Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
And in the sports arena, national women's soccer team Harambe Stars is set to leave the country on Wednesday for Yaoundé, where they will face host Cameroon in the 2024 Women Africa Cup of Nations qualifier match. The return leg match will be played here in Nairobi on the 26th of this month.
Harambe Stars have started their preparations ahead of the two-legged 2024 Women Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, where they will face Cameroon. The team is set to depart for Cameroon on Wednesday for the first leg match, which is set to be played on Friday in Yaoundé. Starlets will fly back home on Saturday in time for their second leg match on Tuesday. Should Harambe Stars be the aggregate winners of the two-legged qualifier, they will face either Gabon or Botswana in the second round between November 27th and December 5th. The victor of the second round will secure an automatic qualification for the 2024 Africa Women's Cup of Nations to be hosted in Morocco. For Lunchtime News, I am Faith Akinyi.
24-year-old Jeremiah Ohome racked up his second career Kenya National Rally Championship victory following brilliant displays in the iconic Mombasa round in the cumulative total time of 2 hours, 12 minutes and 12 seconds. Youngster Jeremiah, running on a Ford Fiesta navigated by home driver Victor Okundi, and who previously represented Kenya in the FIA Africa Rally Championship, as well as the Safaris WRC's category, beat Jasmeet Chana by 1 minute and 19 seconds to move to second position on the KNRC log. Saman Vohra, driving a Skoda Fabia Rally 2, won the clubman category in blistering pace, bouncing back on Sunday morning after a poor display on Saturday. Goals from Cody Gakpo and Wu helped Netherlands complete a dramatic 2-1 comeback over Northern Ireland in their Euro 2024 qualifier. Meanwhile, Greece turned Gibraltar 5-0 in an entertaining match played at Upep Arena in Greece.
Handled the ball inside the box.
He steps up for his country.